Meeting to order and start things off tonight with a flag ceremony from Cub Scout Pack 331. Please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we'll get started here. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Sperling? Here. Trustee Lee?
Here.
Trustee Hines? Trustee Youngerman?
Yes.
Trustee Marisak?
Here.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
All right. If everybody's comfortable, we'll take the public participation stuff out of order and do the fun stuff first and see how things go after that. We'll move on to do item B first this evening, so I'll go over to the podium. And if we have representatives of, I'll do St. Luke's Church first. If we have representatives from the church, if you want to come down and meet me at the podium. If not, I know we do have, is there anybody here from St. Luke's this evening?
John?
All right, so I'll go ahead and announce theirs. This is the winners of the holiday tree decorating contest that we had this year. St. Luke's Church placed third, and these are votes that were actually compiled by everybody that visited Village Hall over the Christmas holiday. Their theme was Better Together. It featured puzzle piece ornaments with famous pairings such as salt and pepper, peanut butter and jelly, and you and me. So I was going to present them with a certificate this evening that we will obviously get to them. So I want to thank them for their participation. And I know we have people here from Community Christian Church. You guys want to come down? And lucky you, would you like to talk about your tree?
Sure. Okay, so our tree, as you can see, was a ladder, and we recently had a renovation at our campus in Montgomery, and so we thought it'd be fun to do something a little bit different to represent our new renovation, and so there you have it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of the Village of Montgomery, I'd like to present you with this certificate. And please share this with everybody for second place this year.
Okay, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
And do we have anybody here tonight from Cub Scout Pack 331? You guys want to come on down? We can meet in the middle here. Who would like to be the lucky one to talk about your tree? Go ahead. You guys want to line up in front of the board and we'll take a picture together? I'll come out there with you. Go ahead.
Thank you. This is Cub Scout Pack 331 out of Lakewood Creek Elementary School in Montgomery. And our tree's theme was Scouting is Sweet. And it was probably the best smelling tree because we looped thousands of Fruit Loops to make garland. And we had pictures of all of our scouts, and they were all handmade ornaments by our scouts. And we're very proud and humbled to accept this award on behalf of Pack 331.
Right. All
Pizza.
right.
At the main table.
And you guys can hang out for the whole meeting if you want, but you don't have to. So we'll move back to item A for public participation this evening, which is public comment. Any member of the public that's here this evening, including Cub Scouts, could address the board at this time. If there's anybody that would like to address the board, go ahead.
It'll take 2 minutes. All right, as we all know, the weather's been kind of funny, so. Inclement weather has been tough on many of us, but it has indeed been beneficial to our area transients. Most impressive of all, the bald eagles. I've spent many mornings driving, hiking, skiing along the Fox River to photograph these beautiful creatures. Along Route 25, there is only access from afar, which is most advantageous for these birds. These birds roost to conserve their energy for hunting, and frightening them from their perch only causes them to expel this needed energy. For the National Audubon Society and the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, I would like to propose the following draft of a press release for your approval. Magnificent Montgomery, where the eagles roost. On behalf of the National Audubon Society and the Village of Montgomery, would like to welcome area families and friends to the 17th Annual Greater Backyard Bird Count, February 15th and 16th, 2014, 8 a.m. to 9:30 along the scenic Fox River. Participants will meet at the Montgomery Village Hall. Bring your binoculars, scopes, cameras, dress warm and for forecasted weather conditions. Events will be conducted rain or shine. Guided tours will be conducted in small groups to view and record these magnificent birds from afar. Groups will be guided from the Village Hall in 15-minute intervals and will be led by volunteers of the National Audubon Society and the Village of Montgomery to observation blinds where they can witness these birds without disrupting them. Scopes and binoculars will be provided as volunteers from the Audubon Society will help participants identify male, female, and juvenile eagles. Also, in this winter wonderland, there are several varieties of hawks, which will be identified and counted for this event. Return to the Village Hall for hot chocolate, snacks, discussion, and comparison of pictures and data collected to verify numbers, which will be submitted online to the GBBC website. A PowerPoint presentation is available. Citizen Scientist segment of the National Audubon Society. I've given you that name and number here. The event is formally conducted every President's Day weekend, this year between February 14th through the 17th. However, on behalf of the village and participating Audubon volunteers' best interest, I would suggest Saturday, February 15th, and/or Sunday, February 16th for this event or events. There have been consistent sightings north of Mill Street to the dam and south from the Route 30 underpass and along the islands in the river. From these two locations alone, I have counted 21 eagles, both adult and juvenile, on January 27th. I've documented these. Sufficient blinds and organized effort will be needed to prevent disruption of the birds during this event. Access to a volunteer network and assistance from the above organizations is crucial. I have been pursuing aid from the regional and national branches of the Audubon Society for assistance and guidance in this endeavor. I have applied for and registered a citizen science account for this event with the Cornell Lab of Ornithology as Fox River Birds. I've been a member of both organizations for many years and believe I can rally the assistance needed when called upon here to achieve success. With your permission, I will follow through with the organization and coordination of this event on our behalf. I'll give you a copy of this. You can make copies for the board. I also have made a hard copy of the PowerPoint presentation that's available. So I'll let you think about that, but we've got a fantastic benefit. I was down on the river today, and I can't begin to tell you how many birds I saw. And I'm a bird head. I saw a kingfisher. I've never seen one in the wild. I saw 5 egrets and a blue heron standing together like there were fishing pals along the river. We've got such a fantastic benefit. We use this resource, and the greater backyard bird count happens whether or not you people want to be involved or not. It's something that we can do. I can do it myself. I can do it with family and friends, but I think it'd be very beneficial to do this through the village, with the village, to make it magnificent Montgomery. Okay?
Excellent.
Thank
Thank you, John. Any comments from the board on that?
I think it's a great idea. Great idea.
I think it's been magnificent, to use your word, to see all the posts, and not only the village's posts, because we've got a number of photos, but from residents and, friends of mine who used to live down by the river here, where it seems like the bird population, the bald eagle population, has grown significantly in the last few years in this area. So definitely forward that to staff. I'm interested. I'd like to see us be a partner in this. So we'll be in touch, definitely. Thanks, John.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Helland, and I'm with the law offices of Daniel J. Kramer. My office represents the property owner who owns approximately 23 acres west on Orchard Road from Jericho going north. He could not be here this evening, but wanted to lend his support and voice his support of the TIF district that you'll be speaking of later this evening. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, if there's anybody else that wishes to speak this evening, we'll move on to the public hearing on the amendment of the Special Service Area Number 18 from Marquis Point. And I'll open the public hearing and ask our attorney for a brief overview of what we're doing.
Thank you. This is a amendment to an existing special service area. As you will all recall, your special service areas fund specific improvements for specific subdivisions. In this particular case, it's the Marquis Point subdivision on the far east side of Montgomery, and it funds the maintenance and overall improvements relating to the stormwater basins. However, unlike most of the other basins where the subdivisions built out fairly quickly, they started from scratch and then they filled up within a couple of years, this one, due to the crisis, the real estate crisis in 2008, really stalled. And there's been an unintended consequence with that, which is that their SSA, which is currently based on value, means that the 5 homes that are out there pay everything and the individual lots pay nothing, the unimproved lots. Eventually, that would balance out, but right now, that makes it very difficult, I would imagine, to sell a house out there when someone sees the potential tax bill for a house once it's built. We have a way to resolve that, and that's the SSA amendment that you have in front of you tonight. We are changing the nature of the SSA, so it's no longer levied based on value. It's instead levied based on lot. So every lot pays a fair share amount instead of by valuation. What we've done is we built in 2 numbers into it. One is the anticipated maximum levy in the first year, which is $300 per lot. It will probably not go to that level, but I don't want to speak for that directly, but that's the max it would be. And then over all time, we've calculated a $600 per year lot fee. The reason that number is so large is because there's no anticipation that we will ever touch it again. So that has to be true today, tomorrow, and 100 years from now. And we figure inflation, no matter what, will eventually creep up. So we need to build in enough of a buffer. But the anticipation is about $300 a year. As far as I know, the landowner has no objection to the concept and in fact helps them market their property. If there are any questions, I can take them.
So currently, the undeveloped land will be paid by the developer?
Yes, whoever owns the lots,
Whoever owns it.
which is presumably the developer, yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there any member of the public that would like to address the board on this? Just wanted to give you a second opportunity. I know that you probably weren't here for that. All right, at this point, I'll close the public hearing, and we will be talking about this later in the meeting, obviously. We'll move on now to item 5 this evening, which is the consent agenda. I'll read off the items and entertain a motion for approval. Minutes of the village board meeting of December 9th of last year. Executive session minutes of December 9th. Building report from December of 2013. Accounts receivable report for November of 2013. Accounts payable through January 7th, 2014. And ordinance 1604, amending the village code, a reduction to Class G liquor license and a reduction to the Class H liquor license. And if there aren't any questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz.
Yay.
And motion carries 6-0. Moving on to items for separate action, we have 5 ordinances or resolutions to approve this evening. We'll take item A separately, and then we'll do the other ones together, I think. So item A this evening, which is 1603, establishing an amended active service, special service area, number 18 for Marquee Point. And this is a waiver of the first and passage on the second. And this is the summary that he just gave us. If there are comments, we can take them. If there are no comments, I would entertain a motion that we approve.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz.
Is this for 1603?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Thank you. And that carries 6-0. Should we handle all of these together? We have to vote individually, but.
I would talk about them.
Okay. So at this point, we have B, C, D, and E, which is ordinances 1605, 1606, 1607, and then Resolution 2014-001. If there are any comments, I guess if you want to go over a brief overview of what we're doing here.
Sure. Ordinances 1605, 1606, 1607 are all needed to establish the TIF. Resolution 2014-001 is based on the discussion we've had with the other taxing bodies that we had with the board here that talks about the background EAV and us rebating it back. So that's what the resolution will accomplish. We have pulled out those properties that requested per the board's direction. We had one additional one, Lacone, asked to be excluded, and so we did exclude them also, and that would answer any questions.
Is there any questions of staff or on the TIF? This has been a very lengthy process. I think over 18 months or almost 2 years that we've been working on this, so it's a pretty exciting night for me to vote for these. So if there are no comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1603.
So moved.
1605?
I gotta do one at a time.
1605.
Oh, 1605. We could do 1603 again. 1605, sorry.
So moved.
Move, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz.
No.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1. Moving on to ordinance 1606. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz.
No.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
And motion carries 5-1. And then finally, ordinance 1607. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz.
Nay.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
All right. All three ordinances were approved. For the TIF, we'll move on to Resolution 2014-001. Are there any comments or questions on this at this time? I know that we've worked on this with, obviously with the fire districts at a number of meetings. We sent the draft of this ordinance over to them to take a look at. And I think that we're in good shape. I don't want to speak for the fire district, so.
I mean, I want to point out that for folks that don't have the packet, that the way it's set up is that it's going to roll every 4 years unless someone takes action, which was something that this board was really concerned with. So they don't have to come back and address the board to continue to get their EAV refunded. So I just want to make sure that everyone's aware that that's in there.
I would like to give a compliment to our attorneys for drafting. The ordinance or the resolution that's written actually quite clearly spells out the process that we went through, the problems that, the funding issues that the fire district has and their concerns, so that future boards will very clearly understand what we did here today. And hopefully, this won't be every 4 years you have to come back, talk about this again. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion?
Sure, I'll take a motion.
Oh, I didn't.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Marisak,
Second.
second by Spurling. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Spurling.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Heinz.
No.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
And that carries 5-1.
Matt, could we have the couple of people that wanted to speak on this, speak on it now, just a short,
Tom, if you,
if Tom would, and maybe MEDC and Kunkel.
Good evening, Village President Brawley, Board of Trustees, village staff, and members that attended tonight. This has been a long process. It's been a year that we've worked with the village staff and President Brawley. I want to thank you for your lead on this, and I appreciate everybody's effort on listening to our concerns and coming to a compromise that will hopefully assist us in the future. And Attorney Anderson, you did a great job on a resolution. I appreciate the village board and village president and Administrator Zolfo in administering that. It's going to help us on our future financial situation as far as the increments and taxes go up. And with new construction in addition to different buildings, we're going to have to work on that, and we've talked about that. So with that, I thank you for the compromise, and we appreciate your support and understanding of our situation. Thank you.
thanks, Chief.
Good evening. I'm Neil Schlupp. I'm the chairman of the EDC. We had the opportunity in our last board meeting to have in-depth discussion on the TIF. And as such, we have enclosed a letter which was given to the president in support of the TIF, as it's been amended, as been proposed and voted on this evening. So the EDC is excited. We are excited to be part of the process, and we will be going forward to be very much involved, and when hopefully we can be maintained in the loop and be part of the whole process as well. We're very excited, and we look forward to continuing relationship with the village on this project going forward.
Thank you, Dr. Neal. All right, we'll move on. Items for discussion this evening. The proposed development at Route 30 and Orchard Road intersection. And to kick this off, I'll turn it over to our, for the first time, to our brand-new Director of Community Development, Rich Young.
Tonight, we're looking at a conceptual plan for a gas station at the northeast corner of Orchard and Route 30. The property contains approximately 2.14 acres. The applicant has come in and asked the village to consider whether or not we would support a right-in, right-out only on Route 30. I believe that's identified on the bottom of the site plan on the screen. So this is a parcel that in the future land use plan is designated for regional commercial, so that would fall within the guidelines of the land use plan. The secondary access point would be to the north up to Brentwood Avenue. So basically tonight, it's just a discussion as to whether or not the board would entertain supporting the right-in, right-out only and the overall proposed land use of this property.
Just point out, would not approve either of those, because one's a state road and one's a county road. They're just wanting to make sure if they can get approval from the state and county that we would support that. And you can see, as he said on the bottom, the right-in, right-out, that's Route 30 there. And then the plan doesn't actually show the right-in that they want on Orchard, but they're wanting to seek that also. It wouldn't be a right-in, right-out, just a right-in.
I have a quick question. The traffic that comes out of the south side of Orchard, or excuse me, the south side of 30, that comes out of that Walmart where it turns left, how does that align with this right-in, right-out? And would there be any potential traffic problems with people? Because I think you can turn right at it, or is it right only? Can you turn left out of there?
I don't believe you can turn left right there.
It doesn't line
Right
up.
only, and it's down the line to the east from this location.
Okay, then Chief, you never heard me say that, and I've never done that. Thank you.
So before we get into, want to shy away from site plan comments on this? This would be only for the 2 access points, correct?
Right, just wanting to see if they can get approval from the appropriate bodies, if this board would support that.
I have a question about the right-in off of Orchard. Do we know how close that would be to the actual intersection?
It would be approximately 150 feet, I believe, from the intersection.
Are you going to ask about the gas station?
Would the right out then be Brentwood?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Stan.
2 questions, if I may. A resident asked me if this development, if it proceeds, could also sustain some sidewalk or pedestrian connectivity. I suspect it's early in the stages to be talking about that, but it was a reasonable comment. I wanted to kind of put it on the record.
Well, that would definitely be part of our overall site plan review and try to have connectivity for either bike path or sidewalk.
Be a huge improvement. We have nothing there now. The second question is there another gas station proposal on the table as well, or is this the same one?
I believe that Jared's had discussion with a gas station operator on the south side of 30, further to the east. I believe it's an outlot that's part of the overall Walmart complex.
So this would be a second one then?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to get comments from either Public Works or the Police Department on the location of these access. I know that having to have to drive through that intersection every day, there are accidents there.
That's correct. I have reviewed this before, but I feel that we should support this. We should be okay.
Okay. Thank you. Dr.
A lot
Pulis?
of it will come up to design standards as far as both the county and state highways go. But limiting to right in, right out is certainly much better than unlimited movement.
Okay. Thank you. I think this is going to be one of those pieces that if we don't help them when we can, it'll stay vacant probably forever, so. Is there any opposition to? Okay.
We had a second issue with the plan that we wanted to discuss. Currently on Brentwood, I don't know if they have purchased, or their plan right now would remove the second house in, and that's where that road is. Their plan currently leaves the house on the corner. I believe in past talks, the groups that have looked at that have had trouble coming to terms on that. As staff we'd like to talk to the board about at least recommending as strongly as we can that they get appraisals for that house on the corner and make a fair offer on it. And if the property owner doesn't accept it, they don't accept it. We think it'd be a much better plan and much better overall if that house was incorporated instead of it just being out there on its own. So I don't know if anybody else has comments to add on that, but.
That house is for sale right now, and he has had trouble negotiating on what he admirable price.
And that's why we'd ask the developer to seek out, a couple appraisals and then make a fair offer based off of that. And
If not, this gas station's going to go in, and that house is going to sit there and never sell.
Once this gets a response from the state and the county, then it would go back to the plan commission,
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
They'd have to make application for
the land development, okay.
So, Mahir, is there any opposition to what staff laid out with the appraisals?
No.
Okay. Any other pending items with that one, Jeff? No. Okay. If there are any other comments, hopefully we'll be seeing this one in the future. And with that, we'll move on. The items B and C for discussion this evening, the independent quality review of our basins and the detention basin management contract. We're going to table both of those and discuss them at our Cal meeting on Tuesday.
yes.
If there's any opposition to that tonight. Move on to 8 this evening, which is new or unfinished business. Is there any new or unfinished business to come before the board?
I got a couple things, please.
Mm-hmm.
First off, Mike, I know your guys have put in a lot of hours and stuff with the snow. It's appreciated. I know that the salt only works to a certain temperature, and then it stops working, and we've been so cold about a week ago that, people would say, hey, the roads are still slippery, but what can you do? The salt doesn't work. But I'd like to thank your guys for doing a good job. I know the duration of the snowstorm. It doesn't all happen at once, so that means that the streets, the residential streets don't get hit quite as often because you're working on the main roadways. But I understand that and I respect that, and thank your guys for me, please.
I certainly will. Thank you.
Secondly, there was an accident along Route 30 that had damaged, it was a single vehicle accident, where he went off in the road, and the only reason I noticed it was because it was in my subdivision, and it looks like he went up and he dinged the fire hydrant. The fire hydrant's leaning a little bit. My questions, if there's any damage to the fire hydrant and any repairs that need to be taken care of, does it go back to the driver, or is the city out the money to repair that?
If we know who the driver is and they're ticketed, we'll pursue it through insurance coverage, hopefully. Occasionally, we don't know who hit them.
I know there were a couple cruisers there. I saw a couple SUVs there, so.
If there's a police report, then
Okay.
we'll generally have all the information we need to file a claim with their insurance carrier.
Okay. And then last, I know during the Plan Commission, or not the Plan Commission, but the comp plan meeting last week with Kmart closing, we had discussed, and I'm going to ask Engineer Wallers to bring the rest of the trustees up to speed that weren't at the meeting. But we had talked about realigning Barbara Lane with the road that goes by Fifth Avenue, and aligning it that way instead of running it all the way through to Montgomery Road. And I'll just let Engineer Wallers kind of continue.
Thank you. This is something that's been in the plan for the Wabanzi Preserve TIF for a long time, and that's TIF number 1, which is the floodplain property near Farm and Fleet along Route 30. So we've contemplated for a long time that Fifth Street would be extended to the north and then basically go 90 degrees back to Douglas with the extension of Barber Lane. So that connects our Fifth Street back to the Douglas Road corridor, and we think that makes a lot of sense from an economic development standpoint. In the past, we've also shown a connection of Fifth Street extended to Wabansia and then eventually up to Montgomery Road. But as you can appreciate, that extension of the road is through floodplain and is going to be a costly extension of roadway. So we don't really think that there's a tremendous benefit for us to continue to pursue the extension of Fifth North. And we think a better use of our resources is to extend Barbara Lane and extend north, Fifth Street north until it connects to Barbara, and call that the extension there at that location. So we would make a revision as part of the new comprehensive plan that would show that, so.
And currently, that's not shown in our transportation plan, correct?
Correct. We currently show Fifth Street extending to Montgomery Road.
Thank you. And I know that we had discussed it at the comp plan meeting. I think with Kmart and getting ready to leave in March, I think that as a board, we need to do whatever we can to try and make that area as conducive for development as possible. So, thank you.
And generally, the consensus at that meeting was that that made sense from most standpoints or viewpoints, but I think it's good to have the board at least have a discussion on that or have a chance to provide comment before that goes into our comp plan. So if you have thoughts of that, you can direct them to Mike Pubens or Pete Wallers.
When it goes into the comp plan, we'll review and revise the transportation plan as well,
Yes.
so that they align with each other.
Okay. Anything else, Steve?
No, thank you.
Anything else? I would like to also extend the positive feedback to our police that were out during the cold and the snow. I mean, just like Public Works, they're out on the street when everybody else is trying to get off the street. So appreciate the hard work that they do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, with that, we'll move on to future meetings. Whoop.
We got a lot of potholes in the streets on Lincoln Avenue, Briar Cliff, Seasons Ridge Boulevard. And there's some of them manholes that drop down there, set that far below the top of the pavement. Them all gotta be fixed.
Right, we maintain a list of manholes that need to be repaired. Actually, we had one, I believe, on Sherman, where the part of the ring is the structure is damaged, the lid kept popping off. So we actually had that one welded, tack welded shut. So Gary Byer, our street supervisor, will maintain a list of all those, and our drivers will record manholes that are too high or too low throughout the winter, and then we'll work in the warmer weather to repair them. As far as potholes, trustee, we're certainly aware of that. We don't have covered or heated storage for our cold mix, which despite the name has to be slightly warm before it can be put into potholes. So we loaded it in a truck and have brought it in the building. So we're basically thawing the cold mix to make it lukewarm so we can
Yeah,
put
when
it
you
out in the
bring
cold.
it in too, if you put some fuel oil on it, put it below the heater, that makes it nice and soft.
So we're scheduled to get out hopefully tomorrow, but if not, by Wednesday. But thank you, though.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Denny.
I got two quick ones. One, same as Pete was talking about. Whose responsibility is the railroad tracks? There's huge holes there now. And of course, I said it was the railroad. So I don't know.
If it's the pavement, it's actually ours.
Okay.
That crossing you're talking about, Webster.
Yeah, right here.
It's getting to be pretty rough. Engineer Wallers and his staff and I have been looking into getting that fixed and different funding methods. We're just talking today, it might be a longer-term project, and we would like to get an upgrade to that crossing as far as concrete pads, but we'll work to get some patch in there to try to minimize that.
The hole's big now.
I will need to look into that. The railroad has some very strict criteria for working within their right-of-way. They don't like people just to go in there and park their trucks and such, so, but we'll take care of that.
Okay. Second one is, and I guess this is for Pete too. I've had all kinds of people complaining on our 30 and Douglas. And with the light situation, I think Pete mentioned this before, where you're back behind on the other side of Walgreens. And I sat there the other night, and it really isn't our problem. It's Oswego across the way. I don't know if you can talk to their public works. There's 3 sets of lights. Never are all 3 green. Either it's 1 and 3 are red, and the one in the middle is green, or the other 2 are green and the one in the middle is red. You only allow 3 cars to go no matter what, and it backs up past almost all the way to Old Post Road. It goes all the way back, and then the same way. We go past Walgreens. And it's all because the lights aren't synchronized. I mean, it doesn't take common sense to look at that and say, people are only going to go 3 feet, and then they're going to stop, but they get the green light farther down, but there's no cars there to go. I mean, I don't know if you can talk to Oswego and say, I don't know who synchronized these, but they aren't synchronized.
We can bring that up again, trustee. Those lights are not, the term that they use is interconnected, so they all know, they time. Those 3 signals are not interconnected. I'd have to look into the details again to see what it would take to do that, and to see if IDOT has got anything in their plans as part of the whole Route 30 reconstruction to do so.
Well, it's actually on Douglas going into Oswego. In
It's
other
on the
words,
right, it would be the
Yeah.
Village of Oswego's issue, not ours, but if.
but it backs up ours so bad.
That's been backed up to
Well,
Oh, yeah.
many a time.
but
Yeah.
part of that problem, the interconnect is challenging, but part of the problem with traffic backups now are the temporary signals that the department has in place due to their construction staging. And because there's a reduced number of lanes, so you'll notice that the northbound Douglas goes, and then southbound Douglas goes instead of both turning at the same time. So there's more turning movements to be made, so it takes more time, and getting around the turn is more difficult, so traffic isn't moving through as smoothly. We continue to have status meetings with IDOT over the winter. We did cancel last week's because of the weather, so they're aware that there's been issues there with the timing, and I'll talk to them again to see if we can make some improvements to the.
I think the
to
people
green
can
signal.
turn on 30 left fine from our way.
Right.
It's that they can't go straight because the second light is red, so 3, 4 cars will pile up, so everybody just sits there. And then
I see.
pretty
They're
soon you
getting-
got them all backed up. And they're not timed right. I mean, you can look there and see that.
That may be difficult to solve right now, but I'll talk to IDOT again about it and see if they've had any discussions with the village.
I've had a lot of people mention it, so.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Going through there is a nightmare. And I talked to Planet Fitness about that too, and it's killing them right now, making it difficult to get into the center. If you could follow up with IDOT and Oswego to see if there's any plans, potentially Oswego could be looking at that too, so we don't know.
I've actually spent 15 minutes trying to get through those 3 lights. So I actually probably could have crawled and gotten through quicker.
You've
But
gotten run over, but.
That's
beside the
fine.
point.
In relation to the construction on 30,
Yes.
does IDOT plan on doing any work over the winter?
The contractor on the Route 30 widening project, Plody, has plans to continue to do pavement removal and storm sewer construction. As you can imagine, during the winter, it's weather dependent all year, but they were going to take 2 weeks off over Christmas and New Year's and then remobilize their forces. So again, our meeting was canceled last week. I haven't seen anyone out there recently, but again, it's been so wet and cold, I'm not sure they'd have been able to do any underground work as far as storm sewer.
Okay.
But that was their plan, is that we've talked before, they're several weeks and months behind on that project, so that they're going to attempt to make up some of that time this winter by continuing to work.
Okay, thank you.
Where do we stand on the little free libraries? What's the status? Does it need to go to Plan Commission?
It does. Is that on the agenda for?
It is on.
It's on the Plan Commission agenda.
Community signage is on there. I think that's part of it.
I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, thank you.
And now we'll move on to future meetings. The Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, January 16th. Note before that, from 4 to 6:30, we'll have the comprehensive plan, the future land use map, there for public inspection. And then you can see the list of meetings after that busy month. With that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session this evening for 2 reasons. To, one, discuss the employment of an employee pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C1. And 2, to discuss collective negotiating matters pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 C2. And I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Youngerman?
Yes.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee? Trustee Heinz?
Motion to adjourn? Or actually, I got to call the meeting back to order, then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second. Take the roll, please.
Trustee Spurling?
Yes.
Trustee Lee? Trustee Heinz?
Yay.
Trustee Youngerman?
Yes.
Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Bond?
Yes.
Yes, and Jeff has one announcement.
Mike has one announcement.
Our work is largely outdoors, and we thought we'd take a little break for
Excellent.
January.
And we're adjourned. Thank you.
Stan, I did notice that.
How about it?